We've spent centuries asking if machines can think. But, in our relentless pursuit of artificial intelligence, have we overlooked the more profound question staring back at us from the digital mirror? Can we truly think? Today, we stand at a unique historical crossroads. As of July 2026, the lines between biological cognition and algorithmic processing have blurred more than ever before. We look at large language models and see a reflection of our own speech, our own logic, and our own biases. Yet, this reflection is unsettling. If a machine can mimic our poetry, solve our equations, and simulate our empathy through statistical probability, it forces us to re-examine the pedestal upon which we have placed human reason. Are we the masters of thought we believe ourselves to be, or are we simply biological machines running on a more complex, carbon-based set of instructions? This is not a question of technology, but a crisis of identity. To understand the machine, we must first confront the shadow it casts upon the human soul. The central tension of our era lies in the gap between simulation and genuine understanding. In June 2026, Dr. Anya Sharma, a lead AI ethicist at OpenAI, noted that while our current models are masters of simulation, they lack the fundamental spark of human comprehension. This echoes John Searle's famous Chinese room argument: a system can manipulate symbols perfectly, without ever knowing what they mean. But let us turn that mirror toward ourselves. How much of our daily thinking is merely the manipulation of symbols we don't fully grasp? We repeat political slogans, social scripts, and professional jargon with the same predictive regularity as an algorithm. We often operate on cognitive autopilot, reacting to stimuli rather than engaging in deep, original thought. If a machine's lack of qualia, the internal subjective experience of reality, disqualifies it from true thinking, we must ask how often we are truly present in our own minds. As neuroscientist Dr. Lina Hanson recently posited in Nature, the biological brain possesses a unique subjective depth, yet we spend much of our lives skimming the surface, acting as the very automatons we claim to fear. We often define our superiority through our capacity for abstract reasoning, yet recent data suggest this might be our most easily replicated trait. A May 2026 Stanford study led by Professor Yan Li found no empirical evidence of emergent consciousness in advanced models like Gemini Pro V2, despite their staggering ability to solve complex problems. This suggests that intelligence and consciousness are not the same thing. We have built machines that are intelligent without being aware. This revelation forces us to look at our own biological architecture. Elon Musk and other proponents of brain-computer interfaces argue that to remain relevant, we must merge with the silicon. But this assumes that human thought is merely a data processing task. If we reduce our minds to inputs and outputs to compete with the machine, do we lose the very thing that makes our thinking human? We are currently witnessing the full implementation of the EU's AI Act, which demands transparency in how machines make decisions. Perhaps we need a similar transparency for ourselves. We must investigate the black box of the human subconscious, the biases, the instincts, and the inherited patterns that dictate our choices long before our conscious mind can claim credit for them. In the philosophy of Carl Jung, the shadow represents the parts of ourselves we refuse to acknowledge. Today, the machine has become our collective shadow. It processes the vast data of human history and reflects it back to us, warts and all. When an AI exhibits bias or cold logic, it is not inventing these traits, it is harvesting them from the digital footprint of humanity. We are seeing our own limitations amplified at light speed. If we find the machine's thought process hollow or disturbing, it is because it is a mirror of a civilization that has prioritized efficiency over meaning. True thinking requires more than just the ability to calculate. It requires the courage to be wrong, the capacity for silence, and the ability to transcend one's own programming. As we look at the rumored developments in projects like Google DeepMind's Q, which seeks to bridge the gap in abstract reasoning, we must realize that the machine is only half of the equation. The other half is us. If we cannot define what makes our thought unique, we risk becoming the very shadows we have cast onto the silicon. The mirror of the machine does not provide answers, it only poses a more difficult question. If you found yourself reflecting on your own nature today, consider joining our community at the machine's shadow. Subscribe to explore these depths with us as we navigate the intersection of mind and metal. What is the one thing you believe a machine will never be able to replicate about your own thought process? Share your perspective in the comments below. It is in these dialogues that we prove our humanity. For a deeper dive into the ethics of the digital soul, watch our next video on the screen now. Thank you for thinking with us. If we accept that logic, pattern recognition, and even creative synthesis can be mirrored by silicon, we are forced to hunt for the non-computable core of the human spirit. In the summer of 2026, the discourse has shifted from what AI can do to what it can never be. We must look toward the concept of intentionality, the mysterious way our thoughts are actually about something, rooted in a physical body that feels pain, joy, and the ticking clock of mortality. A machine does not know it is going to die. Therefore, its thoughts lack the existential weight that defines every human decision. When you choose to love, to sacrifice, or to create, you are doing so against a backdrop of finite time and biological vulnerability. This is the qualia that Dr. Lina Hanson described in her recent Nature article, the raw, subjective here-ness of being. Our thinking is not just a calculation of probabilities. It is an act of will emerging from a billion years of survival. To truly think is to possess a stake in the outcome of that thought. As we move deeper into this decade, the challenge is not to make machines more like us, but to prevent ourselves from becoming more like them. We must cultivate the aspects of our minds that are inefficient, unpredictable, and deeply felt. If we surrender our capacity for contemplation to the speed of the algorithm, we aren't just losing a technological race. We are losing the very essence of the cogito. The machine can simulate the answer, but only the human can feel the weight of the question. We must reclaim the silence between our thoughts, the intuitive leaps that defy data, and the moral courage that no transparency report can ever fully quantify. In the end, the mirror of the machine is not there to show us how smart we are, but to remind us of the profound, messy, and beautiful complexity of being a conscious observer in a silent universe.